мы между плоскостей. Ты ни рамси не соберешь костей. Тут карты всех мастей, серая масса густеет. Цивилизация из канализации. И вы влетели к ним под пальцы, и хрустнул панцирь. Мы ни при чем, просто ты попал в просак гучом. Ты так не жил, если не понимаешь, о чем мы. Ваш телефон сломан, я тряхом скован. Салюты белым вдовам, мыши достаются совам.
Alright guys, this is Para with Dividing Line Airsoft. Today I've got for you an SSO Partizan Harness to review. Typically these are used by the Russian FSB forces starting back around 2003, 2004 and onwards. You might have seen a lot of pictures of them used in the Beslan hostage crisis, as well as even up until more recently. Quite a lot of FSB and even MVD operators still use them. Alright, so starting with the harness itself, the shoulder pads have mesh lining under each pad and down the entire back of it. There isn't any actual padding to them. It's a very thin material. Doesn't do much to offset the weight. On top here you'll find the drag handle with 3 rows of MOLLE directly underneath it, leading down into the harness itself. But as you see moving down, you have 2 straps going down the center right here, as well as 2 straps coming off diagonally to better distribute the weight. On the chest right here, you'll notice it has a sternum buckle to go across your upper chest. Many people don't find them necessary, but I prefer having them as opposed to not. The orange tape you see here is mostly just to keep the extra strap material tied up in place as opposed to hanging loosely. Moving down to the butt pack, you'll notice that it differs somewhat from a Smersh system or anything similar to that, in the sense that it's a large butt pack with 2 separate pouches on the outside right here. You open up the central buckle, and inside you'll see the logo for SSO, as well as inside the pouch itself. I carry my first aid kit. It has a tourniquet wrapped around the top, as well as packets of gauze inside. Typically I have that attached to the outside of the butt pack, but for storage purposes I keep them inside. Same goes for my separate grenade pouch. Inside the pouch itself you'll see 1 main pocket with 2 smaller ones separated on the inside. The outside of the butt pack itself has a drawstring, which you can tighten to keep it closed. And then on the outside of the butt pack here, each pouch is fastened with a Spanish clip system, where you slide open this, and then the clip itself comes off the hinge. And inside, once again, you'll notice a center divider. Velcro, so you can just pull it to the side and keep the larger opening in the pouch. Same goes for the other one on this side. On each side of the butt pack right here, I have my optional VOG pouches, which you can easily remove. They each hold 5 VOG style grenades. They unfortunately are not big enough to hold like an Enola Gay smoke or anything similar to that. If they were slightly bigger, it would be fine, but as they are now, they're a little too big. So each one has, rather than the Spanish clip system, it has a button enclosure with Velcro attached to it. 2 separate buttons to put in 2 positions, and inside the pouch itself there's a little pull tab which you would fit under the grenade to make it easier to pop the grenade out of the pouch when you need it. Moving on to the mag pouches, there are 4 pouches, 2 on each side, once again using the Spanish clip system with Velcro underneath. If you wanted this to be a silent pouch system, you could cover one side of the Velcro, either one, and then that way when you go to remove the clips, it makes no noise whatsoever. Inside you can hold 2 AK style mags, whether they're 7.62 or 5.45. And unlike the Smersh, these do have a stationary center divider that is not removable. So unlike them, it would be much harder to try and put 3 mags in each pouch. On the end of each pouch, you see a grenade or general purpose pouch for anything else you might want to fit in here. Once again, using the button enclosure rather than the Spanish clip system. You'll notice here on the bottom of each pouch, they contain a little eyelet to allow for draining of water in the case that you're caught in the rain. That way your pouches don't begin to soak. Moving on to the belt itself, we'll flip it over. And you can see here that as opposed to a Smersh, which uses just a solid inner belt, the Partizan Harness uses 2 layers, one of a very flexible outer material, and then one more of a cotton inner belt right here. Relatively flexible. Most of the stiffness comes from the actual padded belt itself, which everything will attach onto with the inner belt threading in between the pouches and the pad. The pad itself I prefer much more to the style that the Smersh has. I feel that it conforms to your body much better, fits more snugly, and helps distribute the weight a little better. It's just more comfortable in general. One thing that I like much more about the Partizan Harness in comparison to the Smersh is the ease of attaching a Camelback Pactine to it. On the back here, you just remove the 2 clamps, slide them through the molly on the upper half of the harness, attach them to the buttons on the bottom of the Pactine, and then you'll notice here on the bottom of the harness I've attached 2 clips which will clip directly onto the Pactine itself. Keeping it in place, attached to the back of the harness. And once that's done, I take the hose for the harness, I route it under where my arm would be, and pull it through the strap at the bottom of the shoulder pad. Keeps it attached and contained, and then it's directly under the arm, not in the way or anything. Now the Partizan Harness itself is made out of an older style Avizant material as opposed to more of a modern Cordura or nylon style material. Very durable. The only issue with my Partizan is you can see here on the side of this pouch there is a long tear going directly down it. Typically though, you'll see that it hasn't actually penetrated each side of the material right here. Just made it into the second layer on the back. It's not really going to be an issue, easily fixable otherwise, but as I've said, the Avizant material is generally very sturdy. The stitching on all of the pouches themselves hold up very well. You'll notice double stitching pretty much everywhere across any sort of pouch or strap. All the rows of molly double stitched. The VOG pouches, even just down to the pull tabs on the Spanish clips. Everything about this is very well made, very reliable, very much worth the money. The going rate for a Partizan such as this is usually in the realm of $300 to $400 nowadays. You might find them on eBay much, much higher. I remember seeing them for $700 just looking around, but typically if you go on Facebook or in other sort of Russian gear communities, you can find many people selling these directly from Russia for much cheaper than that. If you couldn't afford it, you could also get what is known as the IRT reproduction. Those tend to run, if I remember correctly, $200. However, for the price difference and the price of these coming down so much in recent years, I would not recommend the IRT to anybody for any reason, really. You can find some comparisons on YouTube going over the differences, mainly in the harness and how the pouches work. Once you've seen both, it's pretty easy to recognize what is reproduction, what is real. And with how abundant these are nowadays, there's no real reason to settle for anything less. The only thing that my Partizan is missing is the radio pouch that would normally be found on the harness right here. Unfortunately, the previous owner wanted to keep that, and for the price that I got this for, I was happy to let it go. Once again, this is Para from Dividing Line Airsoft. Any comments or questions, go ahead and leave them down below. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.